Hello, welcome back
Hello.
to welcome back everyone to Business as Unusual. I hope you've all had a lovely weekend. My name is Megan from Greater London Properties, and we set up a Facebook group called Central London Lockdown Support Group just to help out businesses that were still open and closed. We've been doing live chats at 11:30 every single weekday, and today we're speaking to Arabica London, James Walters, who is the founder of Arabica London. Hi, James.
Good morning. Hi, Megan.
Thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having us on.
You're very welcome. We want to give you the exposure that you deserve, and it's great to meet the people behind the business, which is just brilliant. I wanted to, just for the people that are listening and that they don't really know about Arabica London at all, can you tell them a little bit more about your company and like how you got started in the first place?
Business has been going about 20 years. It started from an 8-foot trestle table covered with Hessian cloth in Borough Market, back when Hessian cloth was kind of cool and was it ever cool? 8-foot trestle table with just a few dips and some fresh mezze and a couple of spice blends, and grew slowly and organically from there over the last 20 years. We started there, started several other market stalls, did a food show and got discovered by Selfridges Food Hall. Got into talks with those guys for about 12 months with Ewan Venters, who's now the CEO of Fortnum's, who's always been incredibly supportive of us. Since then, always been supportive. He's a legend. And they brought us into Selfridges, and that's, I think, 10 or 12 years we've been there now. And then I dabbled in opening a small restaurant when I was 24 called Cafe Arabica. It was in the kind of wilds of West London in a little back street called Wilds Rents Road, kind of Ladbroke Grove, Kensal Road kind of area. Opened it on £7,000 I borrowed off my dad, a couple of credit cards, and utilising some of the money that we were making at Borough Market. That was around 2002, 2003, 4. It was reviewed by the likes of Jay Rayner and Matthew Fort. But we really didn't know what we were doing. I had no idea. I mean, we opened, we didn't even have any menus. There was no website. I think we managed to write a menu about 4 days after opening, and I think we then cobbled together some flyers and went door to door the following week. But it was quite it was fun. So we kept that rolling for a couple of years. Then we locked that down. That's when the Selfridges thing happened, about a year or two later. And then eventually Arabica Bar and Kitchen opened in Borough Market. So we gave up the market stall and we took a permanent site there in 2014, I think. June 2014. So I think it's going to be our 6-year birthday, I think, on next month. In June. And then we opened King's Cross. We opened King's Cross last September.
Yes,
and that's it.
We've been to visit the King's Cross one. We are, my office is based on Judd Street, just like going towards Bloomsbury in the Brunswick Centre.
Okay.
So we just loved all of the new regeneration and everything in King's Cross. So it's brought a lot of new lunchtime favourites for us.
Oh, amazing. Good to hear.
We watched it grow. So how have you found, because obviously it's been very, very tough for hospitality, how have you found the COVID-19 affect your business?
I think we've all found it incredibly challenging. I mean, our sector is closed completely, pretty much. People are trying to start to activate little parts of their business, but it's been tough. And just trying to navigate how we may come out of it. And we're fortunate enough to have a central production kitchen in Camberwell, and so we've obviously got an online shop. So I thought well, how can we activate something? So we started doing some lunches for the NHS.
Yes.
In conjunction, well, we set up a Fund Me page for ourselves, and we started to get some funds in through that. And we've been utilising a lot of that funding to donate meals to an organisation called Plan Zero.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that, because it's vulnerable people, is it?
Yeah, so I was aware of Plan Zero because they did food collections every week at Borough Market. They partnered with Borough, so every week they could come and collect surplus food and distribute them to various vulnerable people across the city through a number of smaller kind of satellite, I guess, charities, all over London. I think there's about 100, 120 of them. And so I just emailed them, I don't know, a few weeks ago, like a week after, maybe 5 days or 6 days after lockdown. I think by the Saturday, I think we closed on the Friday. On the Saturday, I was like, what are we going to do? And how can we activate the unit? And at the same time, like bring in some money through charity that will allow us to try and help also by producing some food for charity. Also, maybe give a little bit of volunteer money to some of the team that are worst affected by this,
Yeah.
and that are willing to and can safely travel into our central production kitchen, because it's not an essential. It's in zone 2, but we've got parking there. So, how
Okay.
can we get people that are, that are kind of self-isolating, or how can we get them to come into work in a safe, controlled manner so that we can still do something? So we've been producing meals for Plan Zero, and then we also reached out to Deliveraid, who have got a separate funding channel, and we've been producing 300 to 400 meals a week with those guys. And we deliver
Brilliant.
some of them, and then they also arrange volunteers to come and collect them from ourselves.
I think
And
that's. I think because at the moment there's quite a lot of news about like food banks, and the food banks are just kind of becoming really slim at the moment, and people are getting really upset about it. So I think that it's such a great movement to kind of veer it towards that way as well. So it's
I mean,
fantastic.
in
Yeah.
a way, it's been nice just to be able to feed somebody. I've always been passionate about sharing food and breaking bread with people, and that's quite challenging. We can't really do that at the moment, even with our closest friends, let alone customers. So to come into the unit once or twice a week and produce meals, knowing that they're getting, to people and helping people, and getting to frontline NHS staff that are out there risking themselves every day is has been therapeutic as well, to give yourself some focus.
Yeah. And it'll be a nice with Middle Eastern food as well. I know it's one of my favourites. Anyone that knows me, a halloumi salad is my absolute go-to.
Amazing.
So I'm sure that they will be definitely appreciating that, because anyone that's spent a long time in hospital will know what hospital food is like. So I'm sure that they're absolutely really grateful for that, and it's something that they look forward to. Tell us a little bit more, because obviously you're doing home delivery, and you're doing quite a lot of that by yourself and with volunteers as well, aren't you? Just kind of for people that want to order and support your business.
Yeah, the mezze delivery thing, I've been doing a lot of the production, most of it on my own, and then delivering some, and then pulling in a couple of friends to assist, because the majority of businesses, the business is on furlough. Like, there's no way we're going to get through this. So we've activated the home delivery, and as that begins to build, we can try and take people that are able to safely travel into the central kitchen. We'll take them off furlough and start to try and return to some sort of new normal.
Yeah.
But we don't know what the future of the restaurants looks like. Selfridge's food hall is reopening this week. We are not going to reopen our counter quite yet. We just want to take gentle steps towards that, and we're going to start to reach out to other members of our team this week to see how everyone's feeling and who would like to return to work, or try and sense out what the future looks like, because it feels like this is going to be something that's with us for a very long time. And the restaurant part's the kind of last piece is, we're all, there's a guy called Jonathan Downey set up a thing called Hospitality Union, which has been immensely useful. They've been ploughing away at various initiatives at kind of government level to rally support for our sector, because I think we're going to be one of the hardest hit and one of the slowest to recover. And they're trying to get a thing called national timeout at the moment, which is the concept that we would have 9 months rent free. Well, we wouldn't have 9 months rent free. We'd essentially have 9 months deferred rent. So 9 months would be tacked onto everybody's leases at the end. But I think it needs to get to government level in order for those landlords to also make sure that they are compensated or not penalised by, whether they've got mortgages on those properties, etc., etc. But I think otherwise it's going to be, I think most restaurants will be annihilated simply because rents are too high. Rents are high. Therefore, we have to reduce our covers from, boroughs. A particular borough is 75 odd covers, but they're all very tightly packed. It's one of the things that we get most critiqued about in our reviews is people feeling like they're on top of each other. But we need to cram those many people into that site to make it work.
That's the London.
In much the same way that the original Polpo in Beak Street was, it was like literally, you'd have to squeeze through a table, literally. You'd be making sure your bag or your bum didn't knock someone's glass off the table. And Borough's not quite like that, but it was quite compact. So if we have to reduce the covers by 50% and our rents aren't reduced by a considerable level, I don't know how we'll sustain them. And I think the recovery, until there is a vaccine or a drug, I think the recovery is going to be slow. So it's less about, at the moment, it feels like we're all in hibernation and all having an opportunity to reflect in many different ways around what we want life to be like afterwards. I think that the worst part will be when the support is no longer there and everything from a commercial perspective, if everything from a commercial perspective, i.e. your overheads, your operational costs are normal again, but human behaviour doesn't return to normal, which it shan't for quite a while, and how does everyone sustain that? Because I think that's the loss-making part. That's when people start to really hemorrhage money. I mean, I know that the last week before we closed down, we lost at King's Cross £6,000 and at Borough £2,000. Wow. We were still operating, we still had some people, but because the government had said, avoid restaurants, we saw numbers of bookings cut dramatically. So if that's any indication of what coming out of this looks like, how much money, it's like throwing good money after bad.
I think quite a lot of people will want to put the support back in because everybody understands.
Sorry, say that again, Megan.
I think that everybody is kind of like locked in at the moment. They will want to come and support. They will want to come out. So I suppose, obviously, I know that the social distancing regulations will probably be in place. But I know that they're all going to be kind of chomping at the bit in order to try and get out and go to restaurants and have that date night again, I suppose. But someone's commented saying everyone will want to go out, so hopefully this will benefit the sector when we come back to a normal situation. So I think that
what's the normal though, and how long is normal? I think I'm just being a realist at the moment without wanting to sound pessimistic. I'm just being realistic about it. I'm watching the way people are behaving towards one another, and that's the thing that's most upset me a little bit. Is not necessarily your neighbours, but how people are beginning to look at each other sometimes on the streets like they're the virus. There is a little bit of that going on, and I don't like the word social distancing. I think it needs to be reframed as physical distancing, and I think we all need to take a balanced approach and looking at the stats, need to establish what our risk profiling is, in the same way that when you do an investment or you you do your first ISA. You're asked a series of questions around your risk profiling. You establish how you feel about things, because I had an interaction with someone in the shop the other day. I smoked for 24 years. I quit now, but I suffer from extreme hay fever, and I smoked for many years, and I just coughed into my elbow, and somebody turned around to me and pulled me up on it and said, do you really think you should be out in public? And I turned around and I said, thank you for your concern, but blah, 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 blah. But it upset me. And I just worry, what's it going to be like when someone coughs in a pub once people have had a couple of drinks down them? Because until there is, I just don't know how relaxed everyone is going to be until, yeah, who knows? It's a weird time for us all. I hope that our sector comes back to life, but I worry that there are, what's going to happen to cinemas, theatres, the arts. How does a central London or West End theatre sustain their rents when they can only have 35 or 40% capacity? And if that means that ticket prices for Mary Poppins that I took my son to before Christmas will go from £100 and something to £300 and something, who can afford to go to the theatre anymore? So
yeah, we had some theatre productions that kind of lined up as well to go and see. So yeah, my calendar was really full, and now it's completely empty. So it was sad, really. Just to go back onto Arabica London, because I have to let you know that I'm really impressed by the recipes and the fact that you're sharing these. And one thing that kind of gives back to your company through sharing those recipes, as I said to you beforehand, before we kind of press live, that I'm, when thinking about, say, for example, making hummus tonight, then there's like a couple of ingredients that I don't have. And then obviously, because I'm finding the recipe on your website, I can then see that you're also selling some of the ingredients.
yes.
So it just helps to kind of support you, but you're supporting me in my belly. So
we've also, for anyone that, go on.
No.
We also set up a pre-delivery home meze thing, so you can pre-order up to 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. You can go onto our website. It says home delivery meze. You click on it, and we are delivering from it was originally a 7-mile radius we put from our Camberwell kitchen. We've now moved the location to Borough Market, so it's because it's slightly more central. So we're doing a 7-mile spread, and so you can order by Tuesday 11 p.m. for delivery on Friday, any time between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. We've left quite a wide window, but you get a tracking. You get an email in the morning giving you an indication when your order will be there. So we have found that people are missing the restaurant, can now order a contact free order of meze, and people are actually tapping on a bottle of wine or some tahini to make hummus for themselves, or some spices. So yeah, the Arabica, the product is still available for the time being, once a week, and then online shop orders for people that are nationwide, we're just dispatching them every Thursday. So we've really slimmed down. We're just essentially, I'm just going into work a couple of days a week, and trying to keep the wheels turning.
Tell us a little bit more, just in case just to kind of finish off, because I really wanted to talk about this. Tell us about your cookery classes, because I can see that you can buy cookery class vouchers online. And obviously there are a lot of weddings during this time that have been postponed. Therefore, there have been also a lot of hen dos that have been postponed. And if we can do it in such a kind of physical distance kind of space, then I know that is such a great idea for people to kind of jump on board with. So tell us a little bit more, because I want to hear about that.
So we have been doing cookery classes in a small space in Borough Market for the last, I guess it's about 2 years now, in the cookhouse, which kind of overlooks the market, and it's normally 8 to 10 people. But I think if physical distancing rules come in, I think it will be more like 2 to 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there are Saturday mornings and Saturday afternoons, and then we had a series of like once a month we were doing like a Thursday evening class, and yeah, it's a real mix of people that come in. Some people that dine with us in the restaurant for years, or other people that have just been bought it as a gift, and we cover the basics. So we do some hummus, some smoked aubergine, some boregi, and then we always kind of mix things up with a seasonal flair. But all of the recipes are things that we confidently feel that at the end everyone should be able to recreate them at home with friends and family fairly successfully. You know, we do think we keep it approachable. And then we hadn't done our first class, but we'd also now activated a class for North Londoners in the Samsung KX space. So I don't know if you've been into Samsung in Coldrops Yard.
It's been in that space, but I can see it all the time, and I really want to.
It's a ridiculously incredible space with a beautiful view over Coldrops in one direction and then Lewis Cubitt Square in the other. And they've got an incredible kitchen and then a massive long table that probably could seat around 28 people. And we partnered with those guys to do a North London cookery class. I think it was going to be on various midweek evenings, but they're all on hold at the moment because Samsung basically have stopped any of their events side of their business. But I'm sure once things reopen and we can get back to that new normal that we are all hoping for in the near future, I think that space in particular will be much more feasible and will allow for an element of physical distancing in classes more successfully than the Borough Market space. I think the Borough Market space is more problematic just by its very design. But once again, I think we'll all independently have to begin to take some decisions around how comfortable we feel in certain environments.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully they will see a light at the end of this tunnel, because at the moment everybody is it's just still so ambiguous, isn't it? And it's difficult. But I thank you on behalf of us for doing your bit and you know, with the Feed the NHS movement, helping out the vulnerable people, because there's times like this that you can think completely selfishly, but you've done exactly the opposite, and you're making sure that everybody else is okay as well. So well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us today, James. I've really enjoyed it.
I hope it was upbeat to a degree. I don't mean to sound so pessimistic at times, but it's every week I think we're all going through various peaks and troughs of emotions. And that's why I'm working outside. It's not sunny today, but just hearing some bird song and being fortunate enough to have a little bit of outside space, you know, I feel for anyone that doesn't at the moment. So yeah, for anyone watching this, I hope you're all staying safe and staying positive. And Megan, thanks for and reaching out and wanting to share our story. I appreciate it, and we look forward to welcoming you in King's Cross again, hopefully at some time soon.
I'll show my face. I'll come in with pigtails in so you recognise me.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I have really enjoyed it, and everything that you've said today has been completely relatable. If we came on here every single time is that, oh, everything's great, everything's positive, then it's just not realistic.
Oh, don't get me wrong. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a sunny Wednesday after a couple of sherbets, you might have had a different conversation. But it's Monday morning. I had a coffee. Just, you know, checked in with like 2 or 3 of the key people in the business. Just say, hey, how are you? And feeling a little bit more real this morning.
Yeah, no, right. I'm sure a lot of people are as well. A lot of, I can see by the comments that everybody is saying, thank you, great work, James, and great work.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me on.
Have a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your week.
See you later. See you. Bye. Thanks.